Good morning, and it's Lilia from Scotland's Wild Medicine and Heal Scotland here. And with me all the way from sunny Gran Canaria is my darling friend Gary Young from the Mindful Enterprise. Gary, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
On holiday.
So you always feel a few degrees better when you're on holiday.
I have to admit to being a little bit jealous, given as well that my family are over there just now, and they were telling me the beaches are quiet and the weather is very hot, which is just. I used to love that time in Malta as well when all the tourists went home.
Yeah,
and the weather was still nice. So thank you for taking the time. So listen, you were a huge hit at our festival, and it's the first one you've done, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a great experience. I think everybody was there.
How are you?
With the right there with intention, really. Just to try to connect with people, get the most out of the experience. Try lots of different modalities and practices, maybe things they hadn't tried before. And obviously there was a lot of good talks and stuff as well. So it just kind of very uplifting, just gives you a sense that there's a lot of good stuff happening around the country, and that's what we need.
Absolutely. Were you surprised at the sort of overwhelming reception and the results, etc., that people got? I mean, you were only there for like just under an hour.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first time that I've put together the three core components in the way that I did, and I guess the feedback at the end would reinforce that it was quite a powerful combination. So, I brought in some of the polyvagal theory-based practices, which are really about helping people to restore the system, to come back into that place of safety. And when we genuinely allow ourselves to do that, and the way in which we do that is not just through the polyvagal practices, but bringing in the somatic element and the mindfulness component as well. It helps to take people beyond the mind so that they allow themselves, probably for the first time in a while, to genuinely let go of thinking and come fully into their bodies. And we cannot get the healing responses and the results that we're probably looking for unless we learn how to actually detach from being infused with our thoughts, because the subconscious is still triggering us in the background and still keeping us a little bit tightened up through the nervous system. So we have to go to that place where we genuinely feel safe to let go of thinking, because a lot of people are attached to thinking because it's a method of control. So we need to let go of control. And when we surrender, you obviously need to be in an environment where you trust the facilitator and you feel that they've got a steady presence that allows you to fully be safe in that environment. And I think maybe the combination of that is what happened. And there was a few people that got what I would see as some really big shifts while they were in there, emotionally, and also probably maybe some epiphany moments with experiencing a new state of being that was unfamiliar to them.
Yes. I think what I heard was that people then realised that they were living, with their nervous system on full, tilt. I always say it's like driving around in first and second gear and never actually going into cruise control.
Yeah.
And that, I think the other thing that reminds you is that the stuff that we think's obvious isn't that obvious to everyone yet. So there's a real education. That's why I wanted to get you on the podcast, because of the feedback, and you didn't hang around at the festival, you left. So you didn't hear a lot of the feedback that we were getting. So, and also there was a lot of tears, and I was like, what was he doing in there with them? Because obviously I've done quite a few retreats with you now, and I've spent a lot of time doing your practices, and I know how good it feels. Even when you don't fully understand why do I feel this space opening up, but there was definitely something major happened in that room. And I think you're right. I think people come to our festivals, they're the right people that are looking for change.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're willing and they're open. And, the feedback we get from them every single time blows me away, really. But I think it is, you're not kind of going into a workplace and making people do something there's resistance. You're going into a place of people that are like, right, show me what to do. I want to be free. I want to be lighter. I want to move out of fight or flight. So the willingness, because that's where it starts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be there. It's got to be there. And I think this, again, it comes back to that word safety again. It's, people are, they're kind of, their intuitive reflex is to try to self-protect. So we're constantly kind of holding ourselves in a way that's maybe keeping tension in the body, and also keeping a very keen interest in what's going on in the mind. And when we learn how to just feel a bit safer to start to lean into new techniques and methods and say, okay, I'm going to try something new here, and I'm going to trust the fact that when I do this, it's not going to leave me worse off. It's not going to leave me in a vulnerable state that I can't recover from. And that's the fear with a lot of people. If I allow myself to be too vulnerable here, what's going to happen? What's going to come up? What sort of things is my mind going to tell me? What am I going to feel in my body? And that's where we encourage people to trust that process. Don't be fearful of it, because it's taking you in a very positive direction beyond the limitations that you're currently living with.
Yeah, and I think safety is the key word that keeps coming up over and over again. And that's another thing people that kind of surprised me a little bit. When John was filming the festival in Tarbert, he went round at the end and asked people, what they liked, and quite a few people said, "I just don't feel judged here." And I was like, "Wow, that's not something I would have," because even something as simple as knowing that people are judging you can make you feel unsafe. So there's obviously all sorts of traumas and abuse that's very clear you wouldn't feel safe in. But I think the world we're living in now is that you can actually go onto Facebook, see something that triggers you, and go into fight or flight.
Yeah.
So the potential for your nervous system to be creating havoc within the body is just enormous. Yeah. So anyway, I really do hope you'll come back to our festivals next year, and that people can really. And I mean, I know that since I've been teaching the breathwork, which, as you know, was never in my plan, and when I was trying to kind of work out on a scientific level to teach it, what is actually happening here, it's the combination of the Sedona method and the movement, the somatic. Yeah, that's the only conclusion I can come to. Also, I think the shift in consciousness. Yeah, people are. It's becoming a bit easier, isn't it, to let go and to really control, and also this willingness, this open mind, and that let me try it before I knock it.
Well, it's the trust. It's the trust in the body. It's the trust in the sensations in the body, because sometimes we perceive sensations in the body as being threatening, and when we're in that state of thinking this feels threatening, rather than actually I'm going to trust this because the body knows what it's doing, I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to go through the different sensations, which is very relevant for the practice that you guide. It's one where you have to really let go, pardon the another expression, but it really is about that. It's about noticing the pins and needles, the tingling, all the different levels of the sensation, and this is the somatic experience of it. So the neuroception, it's the way the brain and the nervous system's interpreting what's going on in the body. And if you give the signal of trust and allowing to the nervous system, then what it will do is it'll go with you and it'll work with you. So it won't take you into fight or flight. It'll allow you to get the benefits of the body, and it will say, oh, this is healing. Actually, we're welcoming this into the body, so let's go for it. So your energy's increasing. There's a lot of, you're moving the circulation in the body. You're getting, everything's getting amped up, and it really can. it really can knock your socks off in terms of the, your consciousness, the elevated states that you can get to. So, but with that, while that's really valuable, we want to make sure that we balance out some of the, what we would regard as more sort of stimulating modalities with that actually bring us back to a more rested and relaxed state, which is a state that a lot of people are really unfamiliar with because their lives have been constantly about doing and achievement and striving. So to come into that mode where we don't have to do anything, we don't have to be anything for anybody else, we don't have to serve others, we don't have to be in that place is very unusual for a lot of people.
Yes, 100%. So
you have to get people adapted to that, and you have to encourage them to go with that unfamiliar feeling.
And I think that's another thing that I've realized quite recently is that there's almost like a fear of that feeling of love or that feeling of peace, because it's like, what is that? It's so unfamiliar.
Absolutely.
And, after Aberfeldy, I had an intense experience of bliss. When I woke up in the morning, I was like, and, I, like you, practice this a lot. Stress can creep back in again and you're not really fully aware of it because it's your old friend, right? It's like the elastic band that's been there for 2 weeks. You just don't even notice it's there, and then suddenly it disappears, and that's when you really notice it. And if you've never, I was talking to, Natalie, who did the laughter yoga as well. That was incredible. Some people have just not laughed like that.
I know.
Some people have not felt peace like that, felt love and connection like that. And it can be like, this, and it's not because it's not absolutely beautiful. It's because it's new, or it's, it's rare. So it's kind of like, what's happening here?
Yeah. It's overwhelming for people, I think. Initially, it can
absolutely be. And that's surprising to me because, again, because I've been saturated and obsessed and practicing this stuff on my own body and with others for so long, you still have to remember how new it is to a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
sorry, on you go. Carry on.
I'm saying you and I have worked together quite a few times now, so we have experienced each other's work. We worked together in at Heal In. We've been in Dalkeith, and we're going to be in Dalkeith at the end of this month again. So we know that we've got we're very different styles. But that's what's perfect about it. That's why people are like that. You two need to do more stuff together because I'm the kind of yang energy, you're the yin energy. And it's almost like exactly like what you said there. It's like pumping up and breathing like crazy, or just nice, gentle breathing to get you into the same state. The result's going to be the same. It's almost like the difference between doing, what's that new training everybody's doing now that's crazy hard, or doing yoga or qigong. There's all these different ways to access this kind of more blissful, peaceful state. And it's understanding your body and what it needs right now. So let's talk about, is your next, yes it is, I know it is, because you come back from holiday the day before Dalkeith, don't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that, what we're doing?
Yeah, so Sunday the 28th of September this month, we're back at Dalkeith, and basically the format of that retreat, as you'll recall, Lilia, is really about, bring in different guest facilitators to give the people who, particularly those who come regularly to the retreats, and there are many that do that, to give them a variety, to give them a new experience every time. That helps them to explore their body more holistically and notice what kind of effects that can have. And we basically layer the practices in a way that's put together using a bit of intelligence, because it's about how do we bring people down initially out of their normal busy doing state into a more a state that allows them to feel like they can move towards relaxation. And letting go. And then so we tend to go into the nervous system right at the beginning so that we can get them down out of their heads and bring them a bit more into their bodies. And then we bring in a range of other practices over the day. Some will be a little bit longer, maybe sort of 45 minutes to an hour maximum. And then some practices are maybe like 15 minutes, some are 25 minutes. that kind of thing. But they're layered in at different times of the day, because we've got a lot of experience in how to sequence things. But also picking up the energy in the room. I'll sometimes make a change on the day where I'll maybe pick up in with the energy in the room that maybe we need to flip things around. So maybe we take that practice out here, we'll do that at the end, and we'll bring this one forward or whatever, because you can really pick up what people are needing. And obviously, in addition to that, we get out into the park, we do a nature walk when everybody feels really much more peaceful, grounded in their bodies. And if we think about this from a sort of polyvagal standpoint and the different sort of hierarchical responses that talks about, where we've got the ventral vagal state, which is the one where we feel safe. We've got that defense layer, which is the sympathetic activation, which is our fight or flight, and then we've got immobilization and shutdown, which is dorsal vagal at the bottom of the ladder. Now, when people are brought out of these more sort of heightened states of alert and into the ventral vagal state, which then what it does is it opens them up for more positive emotions, it opens them up for co-regulation, it opens them up for the social connection, that side of things. So by the time we get out into the park with everybody and go for that walk, everybody just looks so relaxed, happy. The faces, the expressions on people's faces have changed. Their eyes look brighter. There's just different things have happened. So that's what we're doing in these retreats, and we're trying to give people an experience and some of the techniques of, here's how to manage your mind if you notice you're getting too caught up in all the stories that are going on, the worries and all that stuff, and you're finding it hard to relax. This is what to do. Try to bring some of this stuff into your day. And we try to feed people well as well. We give them nice food, and there's the connection component as well. Just leaves people going away feeling like they've been in a little sanctuary. They've let go of all their baggage and all the heavy stuff they've been carrying, and then they can go back out and actually feel a bit more sort of hopeful, optimistic, positive, and a bit more inspired to get back into their day-to-day lives. So that's the theme.
Yeah, and the thing that I really like, and that I've been just putting together a kind of much updated pitch around Heal Scotland and how we're going to move forward with this, and how we can. I believe and I see that what we do, we're going to be inundated over the next few years, because as people move away from the allopathic, they're looking now for this stuff, and we need to teach people how to do this.
Yeah.
So they're going to leave your retreats as they leave mine with tools that they can use, and then putting them into communities where they can make this a practice, because we know that the body will switch back on. All it takes is one name in your phone and boom, you're out of state. And this is always what we're talking about, is like, how can you can come in a retreat with you and up in Skye and that incredible, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And people leave literally metaphysically and physically different, that then you go back into your old, your old environment. And this is what you do, is you give people the tools, and then it's a case of how can we put people together to keep the practices up, so that and I mean, I'm guilty of it myself, because I've been kind of busy the last few weeks. I'm like, why have you not got all your protocols on the go this week when you're here? That's the reality. Life gets in the way.
It does, for sure. So
for people coming to Dalkeith, let's just quickly, before you go, talk about the healing, because you're coming back to Skye in Sligachan.
Yeah.
I mean, just the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful locations in the world, never mind in Scotland. It's just
beautiful. So powerful. Yeah.
So do you want to just talk to that? Have you got any spaces left on that?
We have, but we've got I think we're 50% of the tickets are gone.
Wow, brilliant.
And this is, so that's that's pretty far in advance. So that you score, that's at the end of January. So we're 50% of our spots are gone. We normally try and keep the numbers to about 10, because for the room and the space, and also the spaciousness of the event as well. We don't want to necessarily have too many bodies in there. So it feels more intimate when we've got that number, and it allows for a bit more connection. It's less hectic, and I think everything about the venue is wonderful. The lodges are beautiful, and then, as you say, the location is so powerful. When you go out on that walk and you go past that fast flowing river, with a bridge, and then up to the Coolins Mountains, and it just like they're huge and imposing in the background. It's just you just instantly feel at peace, and it really is. It's a superb location. We really enjoyed our time up there earlier in the year, and really looking forward to coming back, because that is that's a 3-day. Although there's arrival on the Thursday, we get everybody sort of connected on the Thursday, a nice dinner together, but then it kicks in mainly on the Friday morning, and then we're 3 full days in retreat. And that will take people, it'll take them out of their heads and into their bodies for sure, and they will find for the first time probably in a long time that they've actually allowed themselves to give themselves grace, give themselves time to rest, to recover, to replenish their bodies, to quieten their mind, and that in itself, when we get to the end, as we touched on, brings in that really pro-social element that just comes out in people, that kind of feeling of the opening up to the more loving feelings, just feeling grateful, and all that stuff really comes through. So it's a great experience for people who are anybody that's going through a difficult time, somebody that's maybe been trying to heal a difficult, physical health condition, anything at all. Get yourself along, because you will get the benefits of it. It really will transform the way that you approach your day-to-day routines.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, I like to go into the science, because for my mind, I like understanding why we're doing it. And I think often if people understand that, they're more likely to participate. That may or may not be true.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think people do need that. They need it. They need I think people need to get a little bit more information of, well, what are we going to be doing when we're there? It's almost like that hyper-vigilant mind needs detail about, okay, so what are you going to ask me to do? And am I going to like it? And maybe there's an element there that people have, and, am I going to be good at it? And these are just thoughts. Let all these thoughts go. They're not valid in the context of this work, because there is no right or wrong way to engage in these practices. You'll be guided. And whatever your experience is of what you're noticing in your mind, whatever your experience is of your body, that's the work you're doing. That's what you're noticing, and not to be frightened of that. So you cannot, there's no success or failure like that. It's not like a test you're doing. It's just you learning how to get back in touch with your body, to get back in touch with your soul, and to get back to that inner wisdom that we've all got. And that inner wisdom only flows, and you get access to it when you can come out of your head and into your body. So the more you do that, it will, if people that come along and then they build in these practices, or some of the practices that they really resonated with after, it will change your life. There's no two ways about it. It will change your life. And if we think about, just going back to your point earlier about, people, what you said, like they just felt like they weren't judged. Well, if you can imagine, there is a lot of very difficult, even family dynamics that people have been brought up in, community dynamics that people have been brought up in, where these things were widespread. There was judgment all the time. There was criticism. There was this, that, and the other. There was mocking and Mickey taking. There was all that stuff, and all that stuff didn't feel safe when folk were kids. So you sometimes maybe had you had to have a safe, secure attachment with your parents to feel safety. But a lot of people didn't have that, because their parents were stressed, overworked, distracted, all sorts of different things. And if that person that was scolding you was supposed to be the same person that was giving you safety, then that's a real, that really disturbs a child's safe view of the world in terms of their connection with other humans. So
absolutely,
that's where a lot of that can stem from, where we go out there and then we're around other humans and we still have that very cautious, sort of hyper vigilant approach, because we're thinking, is this person safe or are they not? Mm-hmm. And so we need to help to repair that. And when we repair that's where the healing comes in too, where you actually meet somebody, you feel that they've got a very loving and welcoming energy. That in itself can be healing. So that's another reason why you should come along.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, it's just learning a different way to be and repeating it often enough for the body to understand that it is safe. I mean, I always see it a bit like losing weight. Anybody can tighten up their diet for a week and they'll see a difference in their body, but then it's the maintenance of it. And that's really ultimately, I know Andrew Weil, when he teaching people the 4-7-8 breath, he got a guy off a lot of heavy duty meds, but it took 2 years before the body actually believed fully and the brain was rewired for that new way to be. And that's why I'm sure you feel this as well. Being around the right people right now is so helpful. People that are not deliberately trying to put you out your 528 frequency.
Absolutely. Here's something I want to share with you, right? This is a laugh because I have noticed that, certain when I get really, obviously, as you say, you kind of fluctuate up and down with, how consistent you are with your own personal practice, right? Just because life gets in the way, you get busy, you maybe miss it for a few weeks, and then you come back and you reconnect with it. And I've been back really, I've been really in my practice quite a lot recently. And what I always notice is my intuition gets heightened like you wouldn't believe. And I'll give you a funny example. Yesterday, when we were coming over on the flight, I had bought one of these, it was like a Bircher thing or a kind of granola type of thing, whatever, from in the airport. I don't tend to like the food in the airports, but we were on a longer flight. I thought I better buy something just in case I got hungry. So Ivona puts that in her bag with a couple of other things, right? About 3 hours into the flight, I'm sitting there and my intuition's saying to me, get her to check her bag. Get her to check her bag. And she went in. I said, you better go and just have a wee check in your bag. She went into the bag, and what had happened? The pressure had popped the lid of the pot, and some of the stuff had emptied out into her bag. So that is just a little example of how spirit is communicating to us, right? If we choose to get into the body, to do the practices, to sharpen up that connection to spirit, we can get these little messages, these little things, just to take action, to do things, not to do things, and all the rest of it. So it was funny because she turned around, she went, you know what, you're right. You're right.
That could freak you out. It's just like, what? How did you know that? I mean, the way I see it now, it's just all information. And if we are in tune, the information will come to us. Exactly. So it's not like anything miraculous. It's the same with faith healing. It's like the blueprint for harmony is already there. It's up to us. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's there. And we can tune out to it. Yeah. Hi, Tracy. Lorna is saying she would love if you could do recordings. The thing is with recordings, especially when you're working with a group, it's private, isn't it? The work that you do, it's so come along to on the 28th, Lorna, or come to the Healing in Skye.
Yes, I'm going to tell her as well. I'm actually working on that. I'm actually working on getting some audio recordings done, because I think it's something that some of the mailing list people we've got at the Mindful Enterprise have asked me about before, and I'm getting my act together now with that, slowly but surely.
Well, we could maybe get you into the community as well, to just even do a couple of the exercises for our community. That would be great. Yeah,
I'd be happy to do that.
Right, well, listen, I know that you're on holiday, and I'm going to send you a picture of my son, so if you see him cutting about the beach with my grandson, you can say hello. So listen, I appreciate you taking the time out, hon, and I look forward to seeing you on the 28th. Yeah. Have a great holiday. Love to, Ivona.
Thank you.
Ciao, everybody. If you're watching this in replay and you need any info, just ping us a message.
Lily, I'll give you a wee 10% off link if anybody wants to join us in Dalkeith.
Okay, amazing. Great. I'll get that out to our community. Thanks,
Okay,
Gary.
great.
Have a great
Bye.
time.
Cheers.